Hello, hello, hello. Alright, so it's time. It's time for another add-on, of course. So if you don't know, I have been starting to, at least trying to learn Python so I can do coding and uh, enhance my workflow, stuff like that. I have done a little bit of coding in the past, just a tad bit for like a week when I did the ProLens add-on, but it was very basic. Um, but yeah, I've decided to pick it up for real, and yeah, I've been going for like 2 months maybe, um, and not every day, of course, but that's kind of when I started digging into the world of Python. And it's honestly to make these kind of add-ons, it's not too complicated. Um, I've learned a ton, and I would still consider myself very much noob at this stuff. But um, yeah, today I kind of got done coding this add-on that I have been wanting and needing, which is basically allows you to wiggle any object. And if you've ever, like, if you're a Blender user, you're probably pretty familiar with adding a location rotation thingy and going into the F curves and adding a noise modifier and adjusting that stuff if you want to have some like kind of subtle movement of something. Probably not this object right now, but that's kind of what you gotta do. And if I want to have a full asteroid field of a bunch of rocks and I just want to wiggle them, that's gonna take ages to go in and that and like do all this stuff. So yeah, the add-on is called Wiggle. You just go to Preferences, Install. You can download the little thing down in the description, and you just install the Python thingy. You enable it, and if you hit N, you should have a Wiggle tab right here. Yeah, so let me demonstrate kinda what it can do. I got this scene open here that I'll be kind of applying this stuff to. So here we have a stone with no keyframes at all, and we want to just add some wiggly wiggle to it. So just wiggle it. Click wiggle, and it's gonna add some wiggly stuff. And here in this tab, you can change the speed if you want to. If like the less it is, the faster it's gonna go. So we want some pretty average kind of stuff. I'd say maybe 70, maybe even lower, like 64. It's pretty good. And you can change the influence. So influence 0, it's going to be default, and maybe 50, it's going to be a little less intense. But as you can see, it's going to add a keyframe to where where you are. So if I'm just adding it again, it's going to add a keyframe right here. But let's say you have this full animation cocked up. That's a very weird word. Sorry for saying that. What was I trying to say? You got this, yeah, cooked up. Fuck no. All right, so you want to add some noise to this, all right? But you have all these keyframes and you don't want to mess it up. So I've just scripted it so it's gonna know that you have keyframes and it's just gonna wiggle, no additional keyframes. So now you get an extra little bit of jiggly jiggleness. So I might want to have some more of that. Maybe make it faster. Yeah, and maybe bring down the strength a little bit. So it just adds a little bit of wiggle to that. And yeah, if you it's gonna add like a rotation keyframe, so you can always like move it around in the on the location if you want to. And yeah, you can make this dude wiggle a little bit. That's way too much. So I can bring down the strength a little bit. So he's kind of just wiggling a little bit, like he's maybe leaning on something. Uh, yeah, make it a little bigger. 0.1 maybe, and make it even larger. All right, so let's say he's maybe talking to someone. So if I duplicate this, you can see that they are the same. So what you can do is you can just crank up the randomize, and they're gonna be. This is kind of like a seed type situation. All right, and you just rotate them like that. And in this case, I have to add a rotation keyframe to keep it. All right. And let's say none of these are keyframed, and we just want to apply some wiggling to both of them. Just select both of them and hit wiggle it, and they're both gonna wiggle, and they're gonna have a different like they're gonna be randomized, so they're not gonna be synced up. So it's not gonna look too weird. And I mean, you can do this for a camera as well. Just wiggle the camera, and you have some nice camera movement, and you can just kind of move in the scene and do whatever. And you can, of course, tweak the strength or the amount or the speed of it. Yeah. So you can kind of use this for anything really. And yeah, you can select everything and just wiggle it, and they're just gonna wiggle. Yeah, if you're into wiggling stuff, then this might be useful. But yeah, that's kind of it. It's definitely not done yet. I still have a few things I want to add, like support for bones and stuff like that, because that's very useful. If you can just go in here and add like wiggle a bone, that doesn't work because it's bones are not the same as objects, so you kind of have to tailor that. But I'm probably gonna be updating this. Also, one thing I don't have yet is a remove the wiggle thingy. So sometimes if you have something selected and you just wanna, if you tweak any of these, it's gonna add the wiggle thingy. If I just delete the keyframes for everything, this one does not. If I just change the influence, it's still gonna add a wiggle and change the influence of that. So if that happens, and like for example, the strength is really high, and the rotation is like really weird. So if you delete it, it's gonna be a weird rotation. So if you just wanna basically get rid of the noise, you can just bring the influence all the way to 0, delete the keyframe, and deselect it, and then you basically just wanna not have anything deselected when you're tweaking these values, unless it's if you want it to be wiggling. But yeah, I think that is pretty much it. It's definitely not perfect, but I think it could be useful. Also, if you right click, you can add to quick favorites. So if you hit Q, you can have a wiggle it, or you can add a shortcut, I think. So that's kind of a thing you can do if you just want to, yeah, you just want to do some wiggling here. Q, wiggle it, and you got all of that set up. Yeah. Wiggle it. Jesus. Yeah. That's it. Download in the little description thingy, and hope you find it helpful. See ya.